So that's what I'm using instead of, my tripod, because I left that at home on this camera. Dogs are acting crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, wow. Wow. Whoa. Is it going? I don't know. Okay, so new camera. The GoPro's kind of crapping out on me, and it's better for more close-up shots of what I'm crafting anyway. The other one, the battery lasts longer, so I want to keep that. I'm not happy with my Alpha 6000 that I have, because I don't have any audio to it. I have to record audio on my phone and then sync it up and put it on there. Then I have my DJI Mimo or whatever, and I love that camera. That camera does work, but I don't have it with me. In fact, I don't have any of my cameras with me right now. I'm up here visiting my father at the start of month 23. And I'm probably going to stay here for a little bit because I don't have really anything to do in my hometown anymore. I mean, I could, but it just seems a little unsafe right now. I've got the court hearing or whatever on the 26th for throwing that egg at the woman's car. Dumbest fucking choice I've ever done. The other things that have kind of been going on is me and the partner fully split. At least for now. She's not talking to me. I'm not talking to her or reaching out to her anymore. And we both have kind of gone our separate ways. But it has brought onto light some key things that I have wrong with me. And with that, I have signed up for therapy. And funnily enough, I signed up with BetterHelp. Now, I've always shat on BetterHelp because you can swap and get a new therapist if you don't like that one. And I was always of the opinion that you need to tough it out. But given how I am to and from my father's and my hometown for the foreseeable future, while I build up some confidence in things, this seems like the only real option I have. So I'm giving it a go to give you kind of fast overview on it from a personal side point. I signed up for it yesterday morning, and was it yesterday? Today is Sunday. Yeah, I signed up for it yesterday morning, and I was matched with a therapist later that day. And we've been messaging here and there, but I'm trying to keep things just to the appointment because I don't want him to feel like he's got to constantly respond to me. I feel that there needs to be that separation of work for him. I mean, I'll take advantage of anybody that wants to let me bitch whenever. Pinky's out, motherfuck. Work's going all right. Not really feeling crafting anymore or artsy or anything like that. I don't feel it. I don't have any of the creativity anymore, and it's like it's been zapped out of me. coming off that July relapse, that's when shit was dark. This last little whoopsie, it wasn't too bad. I was able to rein it back. So we're just going to call it a lapse and move on with it. The other things to note on it, what else? Anyways, I matched with the BetterHelp person. I have more of a structure on how I want to do this and my other channel that I've got going on. And I've intermittently mixed the two full-heartedly. But moving forward on this, I'm going to take down all my video games and media reviews and stuff like that and redo them and add in more gameplay of mine and put it on the other channel. I'll also do reviews of TV shows and stuff. I just started watching The Outsider with Jason Bateman in it. It's good so far. I'm thoroughly pleased with it. The other things of note is I want to keep, once I get back into crafting, once I get back into all that stuff and everything, that'll go on this channel. And we are keeping to the similar format on things. I will do self-help books and stuff that I have come across. Right now, I am reading a book on it's a Zen Buddhist samurai from the 1500s. And in it, he's talking about how when you focus on something, you are becoming biased on it. So, for example, I'm facing off with you, yeah, and I'm focused on your stance, where your sword's going to go. Well, in that moment, I'm only focused on that. I'm not focused on my footwork, which could trip me up. I'm not focused on my sword, positioning, anything like that. So I've lost when he goes to strike me. If I'm focused on my sword position, my footwork, and everything like that, then I'm not focused on the attack coming into me, and I've got hit. So what they are talking about is not overthinking so much and just going with the reactions. And I've talked about how I haven't liked these knee-jerk reactions on what we should do and this and that on things, and that's been a big concern of mine, is because I lack impulse control. But looking back on it, the impulse control, I have thought about it for days, weeks. I've added it to my Amazon shopping list. Whether I care to admit it, I've already been thinking about it. It's not impulse. I've thought about it. Impulse is me getting up and going and getting something to eat. And the guy gives the example of a scarecrow. And he says a scarecrow out in the woods, it doesn't have a brain, yet it does its job. And that really kind of hit me hard on it. I don't need to think about being sober. I don't need to think about being an alcoholic. I don't need to think about helping or what this other person is thinking about me. What I need to do is go through my motions and my steps and what I know. And, occasionally I will make a mistake and I'll get hit, but I don't think it's going to be as disastrous as it has been for me. In other cool news, tomorrow is the supermoon, and I have been channeling and focusing intentions and stuff into some manifestations, and we are going to burn those manifestations to the moon. Huzzah! Because the moon apparently is really good for channeling that stuff. So we're going to see. And we're going to test this camera out because it seems like it would work really well. Okay, bye. Well, as things keep getting weirder and weirder for me, I'm getting used to not constantly having somebody text message me, and to be honest, I'm quite relieved. To be frank, I just don't want to. I don't know. Anyway, work messaged me, and they told me that I needed to start being kind of within driving distance of going to work, because the office is opening up soon, and I live 2.5 hours away, staying with my father right now while I'm trying to get everything going. I had that little snafu where I drank like a 6-pack for 4 days, like a 6-pack each day, not 4 days over time, 1 6-pack. If that's what I was doing, then I wouldn't be an alcoholic, right? No. And even a 6-pack, I would I would like to laugh at myself and call myself a lightweight on it, but it really kind of fucked with my mental state there for a bit. But I'm not entirely sure if my mental state was already fucked up and it was just exacerbated by the 6-pack, allowing me to say all those shitty things that I said to my now ex-partner. Did she deserve it? Maybe. Was it my place to say it? No. Did I have to say it? No. Did I do it? Yeah. But whatever. Here we are. Anyways, so they're telling me I need to be back in the office, and I told them the soonest I could would be next Tuesday, which is right after court. Yay! So that's in like a week and a half. No, it's in a week. It's a week today, to be exact. And I don't know. I'm nervous. That didn't exactly go that well for me last time. But, I went out and I got the apartment, and so I'm kind of locked into it. And, it's more or less the life is telling me that, like, I gotta do this shit on my own. And life has pretty much told me that every which way I go about it, a drink always kind of fucks it up for me. So, here's hoping, right? I don't know. In other news, I do love my apartment. I love the location. I love everything about it. I just had a lapse in judgment for a couple days and watched everything kind of deteriorate. So I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, that's really all I got for right now. Good morning, everybody. One bored dude. So yesterday, I played my first Warhammer game against somebody. The other times that I had played with myself, and it was super confusing. I didn't know what I was doing, and I really didn't play that right. Finally got one under my belt, and I've got some basic understanding. And for anybody that's kind of reluctant to get in, check out Play on Tabletop. And this, I think it's called Asperate Tactics. I don't know. I'll link the channels down below on it. But here's a glossed over version of it. You can deploy, you can keep about 25% in reserves or deep strike. From there, you take turns moving them around. You have your movement, then your shooting, then your charge, and your fight. And then your opponent goes. when you shoot, just watch the thing. Just watch the thing. Notes about my army and areas of improvement. I need more firepower. No two ways about that. My riptides, they held out, but they're not very good against hordes. Then my broadside and my hammerhead, just not enough firepower to punch through their tanky thing. So I need to get some more. The other things that I need, well, I need to move up more. I need to be a little bit more aggressive in my fights. I need some rapid deployments with the devilfish and the breachers, and stealth suits dropping in the crisis suits like turn 2. That needs to be the thing. Hammerheads, heavy firepower, line up kill zones or kill lanes, and then drop the crisis suits in and have them spotted with like a Pathfinder team. That's where I need to go with this stuff, but we'll find out. Well, so a lot has really kind of changed in 24 hours of just feeling like absolute dog shit all the time, and then now this. So last night was the super full moon, and let's be clear, I like to dabble in magic, whether it's true or not, yet to be determined. I have several mentors and everything that teach me magic, and what it all really kind of amounts to is intention setting. And one of them mentioned full moons are good for it, and last night was the biggest supermoon of the year, I believe. We're supposed to get 4 more in like the next couple months, but this one's supposed to be the biggest. So with that, I took all of the struggles that I've had, all of the things, and I wrote them down on a list. And I did this on Saturday, and I left them folded up outside on this altar that I use. And I'll show you the altar here in a little bit. And I'm taking it with me when I go back to Nashville, because I got called back in. So with all that being said, I folded them up, left it on the altar for like 2 days. I didn't care if it rained or whatever. It's been 90 fucking degrees. It's gonna heat back up and dry out. So that's what I did after the 2 days of channeling it and doing all of that. And I started to feel all of this negative emotion and everything kind of come up on me, but not from me, towards me, from other things, people, places, stuff like that. You know, I keep getting told that it's my perception of it is what is the issue, and you know, my answer to that is that's what I'm perceiving from what you're conveying. Then you need to figure out a better way to convey it and not just shrug it off and say, well, figure it out. You know, and I started catching some heat, started catching some flack, and I'm watching this TV show called Outsider, which I'm going to have to end up doing a review on. Like, I'm going to have to. From there, once the everybody went to bed, and once the moon was at its most optimal viewing, I went outside and I meditated for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I burned them. And I had a 6-month chip and a 7-month chip. Those were the only 2 chips that I bothered to pick up in my 15-month sobriety run. Both of them are purple, and I folded them up in my intentions, the things that I wanted to let go of, where I wanted myself to go, and what I wanted for myself. And so I burned the booking, or the stuff, and I just kind of stared at it. While I was staring at it, it wasn't, poof, like I thought it would. In fact, it did something completely different. It was a small, smoldering. It was very tiny. And I don't know, I saw it starting to go out, and I just stared at it and was just like, burn, bitch, burn. And it just kept going, slowly but surely. 10, 20 minutes later, probably 2 minutes, because my sense of time is warped without a TV show as reference or a song as reference. It burnt out, and I dipped my hands into the ashes, wiped it all over my face. I don't know why I did it, but that's what I did. And I came across the 2 chips, and I planned on keeping 2 of the chips and have one with me and one in my home. And what was strange was only one of them was cold. The other one was hot as hell to the touch. So I tossed the cold one out, and I held on to the other chip, the one that was hot to the touch, and it very well burned me until it stopped burning me. It wasn't hot anymore. I don't have a burn, but it was burning to touch. And I left that, I went to bed. This morning when I pulled out the chip to see which one I got, it was the 7-month chip. And what was interesting about that is during that 15-month sobriety run, month 7 was the best year, or the best month that I had out of the most of it. Month 6 was absolute dog shit. And to give you some kind of reference point, I'm going to go get my food real quick, and then we're going to touch base on that. Okay. Sorry. Fucking tater tots, man. So, month 6, I was involved with somebody who was trying to leave her boyfriend, husband, what the fuck ever, or so she says. Her boyfriend was sending me death threats and stuff like that, and the police were like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, what the fuck, man? If I did half of what he did, you would just come to my house and arrest me. And so that was all going on. My father was dating this psychotic bitch of a woman who just made him feel like dog shit, and shit rolls downhill. So that went from her to him to me, and I was not okay with it. I was always more or less with just $20 in my bank account no matter how much I worked, and I was trying to save up and find a way out. Month 7 rolls around, and I get a job offer back in Nashville. We all know how it turned out. It turns out they're a very shitty company. Won't go into names, but they're shitty. And VFO, or Veterans of Foreign Affairs, are suing them. So not really going well for them. Anyway, I had also just bought a new car on my own. I was getting prepped to move, and that is also when I met my ex-partner, who was still kind of talking to me through all of this stuff. And you know, things were looking up. There was hope. There was hope there. And I took that as a sign that that was the chip that stayed. Anyways, that's all I got. I'm gonna go eat. Bye. The fact of like finding out how much they're going to fine me and stuff. So that's really kind of it. Outside of that, I feel pretty calm. I feel a little, I don't know, sad in a way on a lot of things. Like I feel like I bulldogged my ex-partner into opening up that can of worms again. And I don't want to go down that cycle that we do where we get so wrapped up in each other that we blow everything off, and then we get hyper-focused on each other and what our faults are, which cause a lot of fights. So I don't want to do that. I've been trying to get involved in some more outside groups, and you know, here's the thing is I have gotten so disillusioned with recovery groups that like I can't do it anymore. Like I'll post the stuff and I'm just gonna move on and not engage in any of it. But like, for example, AA tells me I have to do 90 and 90, get a sponsor, work the steps, and you know, that's the key to success. And 90 days to build a habit makes sense. But I don't think 90 days every day going to these meetings is helpful for me. I've tried Celebrate Recovery, and I went to them a few times, and you know, it's really hard for me to take it serious when they bring up like a 13-year-old girl who tells me that, you know, she announces herself as a follower of Christ and she suffers from the affliction of lust and anger. And I'm like, you're 13. Of course you're going to be lusty. Like, all your hormones are catching in. Of course you're going to be angry. All your hormones are catching in. So, like, what the fuck? Like, you know, I can't handle that. Everybody that I've ran into with Smart has just been an absolute asshole to me. You know, you challenge anything and they're just... And I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, you can't even acknowledge the fact that the baseline of the AA steps and your CBT steps are kind of the same. Like, you're still internally reviewing, seeing what you're doing, and then making the adjustments so that you don't have the same result. And like, they just flat out refuse to see it. I run into, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm caught between the extremist of the atheist and the extremist of the religious people, and I'm somewhere in the middle, and I just don't belong. You know, like, I could fake it, but that's not a long-term solution. So I'm trying to branch out and get outside of just, you know, recovery stuff. I have people who are in recovery that I can talk to, and they understand, but, you know, as far as going somewhere and doing something like that, like, I don't think I have that in me anymore. And I've been doing this for like 6 years. You know, I made a comment on a subreddit about AA, or recovery without AA. And my first comment was like, you know, if the overall message helps, why are you letting the word God get in the way? And then somebody made a comment about how, like, they felt like if they didn't wholeheartedly believe in it or take any sort of mind-altering substance like a depression pill or smoke weed or whatever, then they're not considered sober. And I responded back and I was like, yeah, but these are the same people who are chugging caffeine and chain smoking cigarettes, because if they don't do that, they're going to get angry and they're changing the way they feel by that logic, you know? And that comment got more upvotes than the original comment, which I think is indicative of like what I'm feeling. And it's just, it's frustrating. You know, people are more concerned with looking at the things that separate them than looking at the things that keep them similar. And they can't take something and strip it down to its base core and apply that into their life. And that's the problem that I feel like I'm running into on it. And then, of course, you get gaslighters and what have you on it. Anyway, I had a really, really weird dream where I was being followed around by my mother and my sister. And they had some guy with them, and they just kept trying to give me a bottle of booze. And the guy just kept going, "Oh, you feel sad? Why don't you drink, you fucking pussy?" And I kept running away from it, and they trapped me in a house and tried to force me to drink. And I ran away from them, and some Nigerian dude flagged them down and like tried to steal their car, and I stopped them from stealing the car. And then I woke up, and I've been in a lot of physical pain since. I took a really hot shower to try and loosen up the muscles. But, that's kind of where I'm at with things. And I don't even know if I really want to do this YouTube anymore, but I find it therapeutic for me. And I feel bad promoting it. I've said that before, but I feel bad promoting it. But I feel like if somebody could listen to it and realize that they're not alone, and more than just a comment on a subreddit or a comment in person, then it might do some good. So howdy, hi, hello. So, man, had court today. As you can see, I'm back in my apartment, and boy howdy, are the stakes raised for me. I was thinking about that, and so basically I'm on probation. I have to go check in like once a month. It's no big deal. There it is. But yeah, I'm on probation, and if I get a speeding ticket or anything like that, like I'm going to jail for at least a year. And like if I get a drunk driving, a DUI, like holy fuck, I'm going to jail for like 2 years. So that's not good. And it's weird because alcohol is always the thing that is added after the bad thing. Like I drink to cope. Alcohol didn't get me into this situation, Like I was sober, and then I threw the egg. Yeah, by the way, I threw an egg at somebody parked like an asshole, and they called the cops on me. And So I got arrested. I had to report to the jail and get my finger printed, and then I had to go to court, and I got it deferred to get a lawyer who basically put me on probation for a year. And I did all that shit sober, you know? Like, alcohol wasn't present. I got drunk after, and like that causes the mental snap. So it's in those moments, like, first off, I gotta not get myself into that situation, and I gotta find coping skills to de-escalate on things, and then I have to also, like, learn to deal with it better. I don't know, like, I'm gonna have bad days, and it seems like bad days pile up, and then, like, I do something stupid, and then I get drunk over it, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, why did you let the bad days pile up up to begin with? I don't know how to deal with that. Because it's not really alcohol that's the issue. It's everything that's leading up to alcohol that is the issue. And if I just figure out a way to deal with that stuff and not that whole just like give it to God, letting go, like snap. And I had read this book called The Unfettered Mind, and I did like a book review on it, and it talks about just moving on to the next thing and just making the right action, that you knew it, just don't think on it, just do it and move on. And like I've been trying to implement that, and it seems to be working. Anyways, that's all I got. Bye. So yesterday I went and played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time in my adult life, and let me tell you, it was kind of wild. First of all, there was one person who was about my age. The dungeon master was a little bizarre. His second person who always kind of plays with him was there, and he was real intense, but he was a lot of fun. There was another guy, I'm not sure he knew what he was doing, and then there was like these two 13-year-olds, and like the guy who didn't know what he was doing, there was this acid ooze that dropped down from the floor, and he I'm gonna take my hand and punch it. And so he punches it and his hand melts off. And they're like, what do you want to do? And he goes, I leave my hand in there. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? But it was a lot of fun. And it was definitely a good thing, I guess, to do. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was really fun to do and to play and to do with others. And it's only like $5 a night that you go, and they meet once a week. So it's like $5 a night. That's not bad at all. Considering I was spending like $23 a day in single 24-ounce beers. Like, I can swing $5. We'll do that. Well, I was putting together everything that I've had for month 23 on my vlog, and I realized I haven't really talked much about what's been going on. So I'm back down, obviously. They called me back into the office, so I had to come. Things have been going okay. Still sober. Still haven't been tempted. I wound up, getting parole, unsupervised parole, probation. Probation. There it is. And so I've got that. I've been playing a lot of Warhammer games here lately. Super pumped about the league starting up here soon. I think that's going to be a big outlet for me, and that'll be fun. I've been working back on the cathedral church thing that I wanted to make, and it's coming along nicely. I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. I went on a date with my ex-partner. It seemed to be going good. She's coming over later today for dinner. I'm making I guess it's like a pork butt. I don't know. It's pork, but it's like long, and it's, I don't know. I cut it up. It's like what pork chops are made out of, I guess. I've got that seasoning, some butter, and some rice and mushrooms. I'm gonna mix it all up. Hopefully it'll turn out all right. Fingers crossed. I'm settling in for the night, and I've been reading this book, Mindfulness, and I hadn't read it in the last 2 days, but I read the chapter that I needed to for a week, and I'm working on that and revisiting that. But one of the things that they talked about was habit and how you act, how you're accustomed to things going for a while, and like you're just on autopilot. And it just kind of dawned on me, like for the first time in like 5 years, 7 years, somewhere in there, I am not scrambling out of the pocket for money. I have paid off everything, and I still find myself wanting to spend money now before my bank account goes negative and I have absolutely no money, right? Like, there's something that I want that costs more than what I have, so, or what I will have. And so like I want to spend the money now before it gets withdrawn for my bills. You know what I mean? Like it's bizarre to see like all these things kind of work. Anyways, I'm gonna go play some Elden Ring. Bye. So I've been reading this book called Mindfulness, and in it you're supposed to break up your routines and try and break some habits that are causing you stress. So that is fitting because it feels like that's all I've been doing is not sticking to a schedule at all. That I want to wake up at 5:30 every day. I want to get my video games in, get a nice little meditation and everything in while I wake up, and then eat breakfast and go to work. Like, that's what I want to do every day. And I can't seem to find a way to get out of bed before 6:30. And I have to leave at 7. So not a lot of time to do things. It's incredibly frustrating on my end. But what it shows is with I've got a lot of downtime now. I've got a situation now where I'm not scrambling for money, where I have to work an extra job. I don't have to work extra and save money. And it's been a long time coming, and now it's all at once. And what's the first thing I want to do is go out and spend the money. And I don't want to do that. Mentally, I don't want to do that. But I have all these moments in my head that are ooh, you need this, you can afford this. Ooh, you need this, you can afford this. Ooh, you need this, you can afford this. And it's not good or healthy. I need to be content with what I have, especially right now. I'm in a good spot where I can save. I can put myself in a position where if I want, I can have what I want. I can afford what I want. I don't need to worry about the future because I already have that locked in. So, oh man, it is nerve-wracking, but in a good way. And it's really showing things on the forefront of how much subconsciously even I am in this and I am trying to fuck this up. That's the part that bugs me. Anyways, see ya.